Good evening and welcome to the Connecticut Department of Transportation Public Information Meeting for project number 156-184, the replacement of bridge number 3612, located on Route 745 over West River in West Haven. My name is Leslie Ruiz and I am a project engineer with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. I would like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. We hope this presentation is informative and we are able to answer your questions. A recording of tonight's presentation will be posted after the live event. To use the closed captioning feature in Zoom, click on the Show Captions located in the toolbar. Click on the speaking language and select your preferred language. Before I get into the presentation and introduce the project team, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items and explain tonight's format. Our presentation will last approximately 25 minutes, and once it's completed, we will host a live question and answer session. A voluntary post-meeting survey is available at the link below. The results of this survey will help us improve these public meetings going forward. The civil rights notice to the public is available at the link posted below as well. And both links are available at our webpage for the project, I should say. The Title VI notice to the public, which states the Connecticut Department of Transportation operates its programs and services without regard to race, color, and national origin, in accordance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Any person who believes she or he has been aggrieved by any unlawful discriminatory practice under Title VI may file a complaint with the Connecticut Department of Transportation, Federal Transit Administration, or the Federal Highway Administration. This slide it's Title VI, but it was translated in Spanish. Okay, so you will have three means of communicating with us during the question and answer session. The first one is by sending us an email at dotproject0156-0184@ct.gov. The second is by leaving a voicemail at 860-594-2020. And please leave your contact information as well. And I want to just mention that you can leave questions, you can ask questions or provide comments until July 11, 2024, using either the email or the telephone. For a third option via the Zoom Q&A tool, I'll explain it on the next slide how you can utilize that. So to ask a question using the Zoom Q&A, you can click on the Q&A at the bottom in the toolbar. Then you can type your question on the window, the question and answer window, and it's the box is at the bottom of the window where you can type your question and then you can send it. And this feature is only available during tonight's presentation. And now I would like to introduce the project team from the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Starting from the top left to the right, we have Bart Sweeney, is the Division Chief of Bridges. Derek Lissard is the Principal Engineer of the Consultant Bridge Design Consultant Liaison Engineering Program. Brianna Ritaco is the Supervising Engineer for the CLE program. Myself, Leslie Ruiz, I am a project engineer in the CLE program. And Matt Giannakopoulos, he's from the Office of Rights of Way, and he's a property agent. And he'll be talking to you about the rights of way process in a little bit. And from BL Companies, BL Companies is the consultant liaison engineer on the project. He'll work with the Connecticut Department of Transportation to provide project oversight through the design and the construction of the project. Jennifer Usher, she is the program manager, and she will be the MC for the question and answer session tonight's presentation. And then you have Tom Beckman, and I should say Thomas Beckman is the liaison engineer, and Tom will go into more detail about the existing condition of the bridge in a little bit. And from Hardesty and Hanover, they are the design consultant for this project, and we have Benjamin Hawthorne, and he's the project manager. And Ben will be going over the proposed the proposed design for the bridge. And then from the end, we have Lisa Sloanos, and she is the transportation division manager. And at this time, I'm going to hand the presentation over to Tom.
Thank you, Leslie. Again, my name is Tom Beckman with BL Companies, and here to give you a little information on the existing bridge. So we're going to start off here with a project location map. Our subject bridge, 03612, Kimberly Ave over West River, is in the middle of the screen here. This bridge is on the town line between the cities of West Haven and New Haven, and that line is shown in orange running diagonally up the screen here, which is also the approximate alignment of West River in this area. Kimberly Ave is this white line we can see here crossing West River, and this again is our subject bridge. To the north of it, in this yellow line running across the top of the screen here, is Interstate 95 with Interchange 44 just to the east of our project. Similar view here, just changing it up to an aerial. Again, our subject bridge is in the center of the screen, shown in a pale yellow. We do have our city line between the two of them, again shown in orange, running along the screen. And directly north of our subject bridge is the City Point Yacht Club. So just a interested party in the bridge who the department has previously met with. This next slide is going through some bridge components. We understand you may not necessarily be familiar with some of the terms that are used today. So we have this slide here to help explain some of those terms and their function. So starting from the bottom up here in the center of the screen in red is what's known as the substructure of the bridge. And in this case, it's composed of the abutment along the edge of the bridge, as well as the wing wall. These serve as supporting the earth as well as the bridge. And then also, as we go a little further out here, we have piers. These are needed when bridges have a little bit longer span, such as our subject bridge here. So that's part of that. Then in blue is shown the substructure is supporting the superstructure, which is shown in blue here. You can see for this bridge, this is composed of steel girders, making up the superstructure again. And then going a little further up, those girders are supporting what's known as the deck, which is just a reinforced concrete structure on top of those girders, which is then supporting our roadway and our sidewalk, as you can see here, shown in black and gray. Shown in green here is the parapets. This protects users of the bridge from hazards off the roadway. And also serving that feature on this bridge is the guide rail on the approaches. Our existing structure. The bridge is known as the Officer Robert Vincent Fumiati Memorial Bridge. It was built in 1969, and it is a 4-span multi-girder structure which is supported on reinforced concrete piers and pre-stressed concrete piles. Our average daily traffic along this bridge, based on the 2021 count, is 16,000 vehicles per day. And there is an existing navigational channel below span 2, which you can see here, as well as a fender system, wooden timber fender system. We have a few more photos of the subject bridge here. On the left is the elevation looking towards the harbor with City Point Yacht Club and I-95 beyond. And on the right is our approach entering New Haven from West Haven. And this just allows you to see the existing configuration of the bridge, which has a sidewalk, a 5-foot sidewalk on each side of the bridge, as well as 2-foot shoulders in each direction, and then 2 12-foot lanes for vehicle traffic in both directions. And at this point, I am going to turn the presentation over to Ben Hawthorne with H&H, who's going to walk through the proposed design with you. Oh, I apologize. Our purpose and need of the project. The purpose and need of the project is to address the structural deficiencies of the existing structure. The condition of the bridge was determined as part of the February 2024 inspection for this bridge, where the substructure, specifically the piers, were noted to be in the condition 4, which is poor. This is due to concrete spalling with exposed reinforcing with some section loss of that reinforcing. A few more photos for you here. Our bottom left photo is showing some spalling of the piers along the structure. And in the center here, we have exposed reinforcing due to that spalling, which is not have section loss, but would need to be addressed. And then finally, our photo on the right is from the underwater aspect of this inspection. And these are the piles which have spalled and has exposed the reinforcing steel to the marine environment, which has resulted in section loss. And that is the reason for the replacement of the bridge. So now with that, I will turn it over to Ben with H&H.
Great, thanks, Tom. So I'm Ben Hawthorne with H&H, the project manager for the design team. So for the reasons that Tom just presented, this project's going to consist of a full bridge replacement. And shown on the screen is a general plan view of the project site. In this rotated view, you notice the north arrow showing the bridge running from left to right on your screen, is north to south. The orange shaded region represents the limits of the proposed bridge structure, and the shaded yellow areas outline the proposed extents of the approach pavement reconstruction. This project includes intersection improvements to the north and south of the bridge. This includes traffic signal equipment, ADA compliant sidewalk and ramp modifications, additional assigning, paving, and marking. And the project's also going to include a shared use path on the east side of the structure and approach that will tie into existing pathways at the approaches to the project site and through into New Haven. The existing 4-span superstructure and all substructure elements will be removed and replaced with a new structure. So the next slide. The proposed elevation view of the bridge illustrates the key features of the new structure. The bridge includes a new curved continuous 4-span steel multi-girder superstructure as proposed here. There'll be 3 new piers within the waterway and 2 new abutments along the shoreline at the north and south approaches. The foundation type is still to be determined during the design phase based on information that'll be gathered during subsurface explorations. Potential pier type and pile configuration is shown on the screen for information and general layout of a possible proposed solution. Existing navigation channel location will be maintained, and a new fender system will be installed on either side of the channel. The low steel elevation of the proposed bridge will meet or exceed the existing low steel elevation, thus maintaining the current vertical clearance through the navigation channel. Slide. This slide is showing the proposed bridge cross-section. The bridge deck will have an out-tout width of approximately 75.5 feet. With this configuration, would be comprised of the following moving from the west to the east, which is left to right on the screen. starting the west parapet with protective fencing, showing a 5-foot sidewalk, a 5-foot shoulder, 2 11-foot wide southbound travel lanes, 2 11-foot wide northbound travel lanes, a 5-foot shoulder on the east, and then a 14-foot wide multi-use path on the east, and then another parapet there shown with the protective fencing. The steel girders will support a new reinforced concrete deck and bituminous concrete wearing surface for the riding surface. So at this time, the bridge is intended to be built using a staged construction approach, maintaining traffic across the structure during construction. During stage 1, traffic is proposed to be reduced to 1 lane in each direction and shifted west to replace the east half of the bridge initially. An anchored temporary traffic barrier will be utilized to protect the work zone. And you can note that the existing water main is located on the west side of the bridge. The new water main will be relocated to the east side of the bridge as shown to allow the replacement of the structure with minimal impacts to the water line service. During this stage, pedestrian traffic will be maintained on the existing west sidewalk. During stage 1, northbound traffic on Kimberly Avenue will be shifted west to a single lane south of the Kimberly Avenue extension in the proposed traffic configuration shown in a plan view. On this slide, the northbound lane is proposed to run essentially where the existing southbound left lane is currently existing. Southbound traffic is proposed to shift to a single lane to the west of the existing roadway just north of the I-95 overpass. That's coming from out of New Haven, where it's a single lane opens up currently to the through lane with also a turn lane. So the intent is to maintain that single lane through. Westbound traffic on El Grasso Boulevard will be reduced to 2 lanes as proposed, maintaining the existing right turn only lane and combining the left turn lane with the straight movements. During stage 2, the proposal is to have traffic continue to be in 1 lane in each direction, however, now shifted to the east and running on a portion of the newly constructed bridge. And this will allow the reconstruction, the demolition and construction of the west half of the bridge. An anchored temporary traffic barrier will be utilized to separate the travel way from the work zone. During this stage, pedestrian traffic will be maintained using a temporary sidewalk delineated with a temporary barrier. The final shared use path will be constructed after completion of the bridge deck. Again, in plan view for the proposed traffic configuration in stage 2, the northbound traffic on Kimberly Avenue will be shifted east to a single lane south of the Kimberly Avenue extension. Southbound traffic will be proposed to shift to a single lane to the east of the existing roadway, just north of the I-95 extension. Modifications to the lane striping on the westbound LOT Grasso Boulevard is intended to remain the same as it is in stage 1 and stage 2. So after completion of the bridge reconstruction and all approach work has been completed, the existing lane configurations will be restored. And at that point, I hand it back over.
Excellent. Thank you, Ben. Tom Beckman with BL Companies again. I'm going to go through a couple of other items here, specifically the utilities and rights of way. So as Ben had noted during the presentation, there is a 30-inch water main currently on the bridge. It's owned by the South Central Connecticut Regional Water Authority. And as noted during the presentation, that will be any impacts to that will be minimized during construction. And then as far as right-of-way requirements for the project, there is 1 construction easement anticipated, which was shown in the plan. The project will require environmental permits for construction and design. As Ben noted, there will be a subsurface exploration for the project, which will require permits from the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, as well as the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And in construction, additional permits will be required, again, from the Connecticut Department of energy and environmental protection. There will be 5 permits required. From the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, there will be 2, and this project will require a permit from the U.S. Coast Guard. Housekeeping note here, just want to note, what you're seeing on the screen is the permit names, not necessarily the activities that are taking place as part of the project. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Matt Giannakopoulos with Connecticut Department of Right-of-Way.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Matt Giannakopoulos. I'm a project coordinator with the Department's Division of Rights-of-Way. So it's our office's responsibility to acquire the property rights that are needed for transportation projects. As Tom had just mentioned, and as was shown earlier, the proposed project design does require the acquisition of a temporary construction easement from one property. And while the department's already met with that property owner to start preliminary discussions, I am here tonight just to give a brief overview of the department's acquisition process. So any construction easement that required for the project or any other property right that is necessary will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes, sections 13A-73, 13A-98E, and whenever there is federal money used in any phase of a project, the department must adhere to Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Properties Acquisition Policies Act of 1970. So once the design has progressed to the point where we're ready, we know exactly the limits of any construction easements we need or any other rights, and we're ready to begin the acquisition process. Each impacted property owner will receive a letter of intent to acquire along with a property map you see there on the screen, which will depict the exact rights to be acquired. At that point, we determine the fair market value of those rights, and we use that to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer gets sent out to the property owner in writing, and then an agent from our office is available to meet with the property owner or the owners and discuss with them in detail the project, the impacts to that particular property, and explain how the department came up with that offer. The owner would have a reasonable time to consider the offer and enter into negotiations. Once an agreement is reached, the DOT prepares all the necessary paperwork to transfer those rights, and they file a deed and the property map on the town land records. However, if negotiations reach an impasse, in order to allow the department to proceed with the project, the department may acquire the rights it needs through its power of eminent domain. What happens in that event is the department files a notice in the local superior court along with a monetary deposit in the amount of that offer of just compensation. The property owner would have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt that the offer was inadequate. Now, whether or not the owner chooses to use their right to appeal, they can apply to the court to withdraw that deposit at any time. So I know a lot of times people think eminent domain means the state can just take the whole property for $1 and things like that. But that's not the case. And the property owners would be entitled to at least that original offer of just compensation, and the department can only take title to the property rights it needs to allow the project to move forward, which again, in this case, we're talking about temporary construction easements. No matter how those easements are required, once construction is completed, the department files an affidavit on the land records, and that releases any temporary easements, and all rights revert back to the owner. So I'll be here during the Q&A, but in the meantime, I'm going to hand it over to Leslie to finish up with the presentation.
Thanks, Matt. At this time, we're anticipating construction to begin on 2027 and to be completed by 2030. We are currently estimating a construction cost of approximately $60 million, which will be paid for with 80% federal and 20% state. No funding would be required from the cities. Please note these are preliminary and they're subject to change. At this point, I will turn the presentation over to Jennifer Usher, who will be the MC for the question and answer session of tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate that. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Usher, as Leslie mentioned, and I am an engineer with BL Companies. Will be serving as your MC for tonight's Q&A session. Just like to take a moment to thank all of you for attending tonight's presentation. Really, the purpose of this meeting at the preliminary design stage is to engage the public, provide everyone with an opportunity to ask questions about the project, certainly here to listen to any concerns that you may have. With that being said, there are several options for you to get in touch with us or submit your questions or comments. I'm just going to go through those real quickly. Again, the first is by email, and I put that in the Zoom chat as well. And that email address is dotproject0156-0184@ct.gov. The second is by phone. You can call 860-594-2020. Leave a voicemail there. We would prefer if you can just leave your contact information. That will allow us to get back in touch with you. And as well, if you can reference project 156-184 in your voicemail, that will help to make sure that it gets to the members of the project team. Finally, there is the Zoom Q&A. This would be the preferred method of contacting us. And that will be available only for tonight's session. The phone and email will be open for the next 2 weeks, so you can use that up until July 11th. The project webpage is also listed there, and you can visit that if you're looking for additional information regarding the project. Finally, I'm just going to make mention that we do have a voluntary post-meeting survey. So if you have a few minutes following this that you can fill that out, we would greatly appreciate it. We use the feedback for our future virtual public information meetings. And I will throw that into the chat right now. And it looks like we have multiple questions coming in. I will say we will get to all of your questions. Just please be patient because we do have several of them coming in. And we will get going on our Q&A session. So let's see. The first question is from Nancy Dunn, and she is asking if the slides will be available after the session. There is actually a YouTube recording that's being broadcast right now, and that will be available. And of course, it will show not only the slides, but the full Q&A session. So you'll have that information there. Let's see. The second question is coming in, and I'm going to do the best I can with everyone's names. Carlos Rios. And he is asking, will there be bike lanes? And if so, what is the reason adding these bike lanes into taxpayers' motor vehicle roads that may potentially put bikers in danger of personal injuries? And I'm going to hand that over to Brianna Rataco with the Connecticut Department of Transportation.
Hi, everyone. So to answer that question, our current bridge section is showing a shared use path for pedestrians and bicyclists that has a raised curb so that if bicyclists wish to be separated from traffic, they do have that option for safety. In our current design in the shoulders, we're not currently striping those for bicycle lanes. So if a bicyclist is more advanced and wishes to use the roadway, they can, but we do provide the raised shared use path for bicycle use for people who are concerned about safety. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Brianna. And let's see, we have another question that came in again from Nancy Dunn, and she is asking what processes are in place, or excuse me, what processes are in the study plan for comprehensively understanding the needs of cyclists and pedestrians in preparing an improved design that serves all users? Fantastic question. And Brianna, I think you're going to take that one as well.
Yes, so the Department of Transportation recently released a Complete Streets Directive, where we basically evaluate each project individually for bicycle, pedestrian, and transit needs. And this includes looking at nearby generators like parks, schools, recreational facilities, and the likelihood for use. And on this project specifically, we also coordinated with the cities of New Haven and West Haven to get their buy-in on our proposed bridge design. So those were all elements going into to this project specifically and all DOT projects.
Thank you so much for that response. And let's see, Nancy is also has a comment in here that says, wow, that sidewalk doesn't feel like 5 feet wide as we use it. So I'll just note that it looks like that's more in regards to the existing condition. So the project team will take a note of that. So thank you very much for that comment, Nancy. And then we're going to move on to the next question, which is also from Nancy Dunn. And she is asking, is the concrete exceeding its life expectancy, or is it spalling premature in terms of expectations? So I think I can probably take a crack at answering this question, and then if someone from the design team or Connecticut DOT wants to add to it, by all means, please go ahead. So just to give you a little bit of background, typically every bridge is inspected once every 2 years. Some are on a little bit more intermediate cycles, but the inspections do cover looking at the concrete. The fact that this happens to be in water, that does make it deteriorate a little bit faster, obviously, and then the salt environment also adds to it. So this is pretty much on schedule, and the department, Connecticut DOT has been doing their bi-yearly inspections and keeping track of this. So this is something that was upcoming and kind of foreseen, as with all projects or with all bridges. And I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything, just give everyone a chance. All right, looks good. All right, our next question is coming from Nancy, and she is asking, why does the multi-use path occur only on one side of the bridge? People need to be able to use both sides, especially given the speed of the vehicular traffic on the 4 lanes of road. Often drivers speed across the span. And would someone like to reply to that?
I can take that and others can chime in if they have things to add. So we chose to put the multi-use path on that side of the bridge because it would connect nicely into the multi-use path that's along L.T. Grasso Boulevard and continues onto C Street. And that's also part of the East Coast Greenway. So when choosing which side to put the multi-use path on, that felt like the most logical side. And on the other side of the bridge, the way we're showing it currently does not have a multi-use path on that side because north and south of the bridge, there's just sidewalks. So we were connecting into existing systems. And as far as, because you commented, Nancy, on the speed across the span. So, the speed enforcement is, from local police typically. So yeah, that's that. Derek and others, I don't have anything to add to that.
Well, Brianna, I would just add, in relation to the shared use path being on one side, part of the project is the improvements at the intersections. So currently, right now, there's not a great way to cross from one side to the other to the south of the bridge at the Kimberly Ave extension. So full crosswalks will be included there. So access will be able to be, connect to that side, depending on which approach you're coming from.
And to add, this is Derek. So the shared use path is bi-directional too. So you can use it in both directions and cross the bridge that way.
And this was also coordinated with both the cities of West Haven and New Haven. So we have been talking with them about this project as well. All right. Nancy Dunn is asking, how wide is the multi-use path? I think that was in one of our slides. Brianna, you're gonna provide that?
Yeah, so the slides we're showing, our current design is 14 feet for the shared use path.
Thank you. And just for everyone's benefit, just because if someone else is looking for the YouTube video, I'm going to actually put that in the chat right now. So hopefully you'll see it up there, and that will actually take you to tonight's recording if you're looking for it later. All right. Nancy Dunn is asking, can the design incorporate an ear-shaped bump out to allow pedestrians or cyclists to pause and enjoy the view of the water without clogging the path? Let's see. I don't know. Looking for a member of the design team. Oh, okay, Brianna, go ahead.
I can do it. I was just going to say that we can thank you for that comment. We can definitely look into it as design progresses.
Okay. Nancy has a couple more questions here and comments. She is saying, it concerns me that the wording used seems to assume that this proposed design will be the ultimate solution. It feels as if poor input cannot possibly matter at this point. Oh, I think she means our input, may have just been a typo. How much room for improvement this is, or is there? I'll take I can probably answer that. So I will say we are really at the preliminary stages. We haven't actually even hit the 30% design stage. So that's really the reason for this public information meeting is the, Connecticut Department of Transportation has identified this bridge as being in need of rehabilitation or replacement, has come up with a conceptual plan for that replacement, has just started their initial public outreach efforts, including working with both cities, as well as some different groups in there. So really that's the purpose of this meeting, is to hear what else other residents, business owners, any other users may be looking for in this bridge so that we can finalize the plan. So I would say, there's certainly room for different changes depending on what the public is looking for. So we're very early on in the design stages. Let's see. And the next question from Nancy
Hey,
is.
Jennifer, sorry if I just jump in real quick. I did see
Yeah, please, by all
a
means.
new question just came in. Anna Marietta is noting that some people are not able to access the Q&A or are trying to use the chat. So we just want to repeat that if you ask questions through the Q&A button and not the chat, that's how we'll be able to see them in the Q&A, and then we'll get to those. So if anyone's trying to use the chat feature, that is disabled. If you go to the Q&A, we'll be able to see your questions.
Thank you. I'm glad you saw that. I appreciate that. Yep, absolutely. All right. And we'll go to, again, Nancy Dunn, just saying this bridge is only realistic path between the western burbs and New Haven. It concerns me that it might not be available during construction. I use the bridge frequently in my cycling between my hometown and activities and medical appointments and access to the Amtrak station in New Haven. So I'll just kind of reiterate, we did mention this in the presentation. We understand that this is used heavily by, cyclists, pedestrians, and vehicles. That was all taken into consideration when we were looking at different options for alternatives. And so the bridge will be open to all of those modes of transportation during construction. So we're looking to have one lane of vehicular traffic open in either direction. And then we'll also be able to maintain access for pedestrians as well as cyclists while that is going on. So hopefully that helps to kind of relieve maybe that concern. All right, moving on, there is a question from Stephen Wilcox, and he is asking, have you decided on the design of the fence above the parapet? The bridge has a beautiful water view and the fencing should block the view as little as possible. And I'm going to turn that over to Benjamin Hawthorne of H&H.
Yeah, so I mean that's a great question. I would just answer it that the fence type has not been selected at this point, and we have requirements from a safety standpoint and structural standpoint that we need to consider. But I will say that the aesthetics is something that's being considered within the team overall with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. So no, that has not been decided yet at this early phase. So that is still in progress. And we understand the gateway nature of this bridge and the views that it affords.
Great, thank you. And let's see, another question coming in. This is from Matt Baum, and he is asking or saying, thanks for the meeting. I'd really like to see more space for pedestrians and bikes and less space for cars. Thomas Beckman described a vehicle count, but not a count for active transportation users. Has there been a pedestrian bicycle count? And if not, why? Also, NACTO recommends 10-foot lanes for safe travel in urban settings. Why are these lanes 11 feet? And let me see who's going to take that question from the project team. Going through. Just give everyone a second.
Yeah, I can jump in. So this is Derek. Yeah, so we didn't do any ped or bike counts at this location specifically. I guess we had some turning movement counts from a project that was nearby. We are including the shared use path as part of this project. So the intent was to accommodate all pedestrians and bicyclists through that, and along with the sidewalk on the western side too. So that's something we could look into. We'd have to touch base with our Ped Bike group internally and see what we can do for that. As far as the width of the lanes, I don't know if Lisa, if you can speak to that more specifically on the requirements for that.
Trying to unmute my
Wow.
microphone. Yes. So when we're designing state routes, we are basing that on the highway design manual and the standards related to that in AASHTO. And that's based on the functional classification of the roadways. So that's where we develop the 11-foot lanes.
Great. Let's see, I guess I'll also just make a quick mention that Connecticut DOT also does have a unit that is looking at basically the state of Connecticut and identifying areas where there is a need for pedestrian and cyclist accommodations. With the Greenway being nearby, this obviously was identified as that. So it's important that this is being provided not only across the bridge, but on both sides across the bridge. So that was part of the planning efforts that went into this. Okay, I'm just going to mark that as complete. And let's see, the next question we have is coming from Kathy Granfield. And she is saying, as a nearby homeowner, I can tell you that the traffic over the bridge is much worse than it was in 2021. There are times when both lanes westward are backed up into New Haven. Reducing the number of lanes from 2 down to 1 will exacerbate the problem, which is relatively new, past 6 to 12 months. Are there any plans for handling the backup? And let's see who would like to take a response to that question. Lisa, do you want to?
Jennifer, I can jump in on that.
Thank you.
Yes, I can jump in. Yeah, thank you, Kathy, for sharing your observations. As part of this project, as part of this bridge project, we're actually doing some traffic signal modifications as well. The LOT Grasso intersection will be modified really related to pedestrian equipment, but when we're doing any traffic signal modification, we typically also look at the traffic signal operations and can we optimize any timings to improve operations at that intersection. Similarly, at the southerly intersection along this project area, that intersection is also proposed for a new traffic signal upgrade. And our analysis of optimizing these intersections will be based on current traffic counts as well.
All right, thank you so much, Lisa. Our next question is from Aaron Good asking, can you show exactly how the protected bicycle pedestrian path on the northbound side will connect to the existing East Coast Greenway that runs along C Street and Ella Grassa Boulevard? And I believe Tom Beckman is switching over to that plan view and we'll speak to that right now.
All right, I had a mute problem too. All right, so you can see here is the plan view that was presented as part of the presentation. So that connection you're specifically looking for here in regards to the shared use path being extended in. So the existing bridge is carrying a 5-foot sidewalk along it. As it turns Ella Grassa Boulevard, makes a turn, and then it hits this asphalt section. I know it's a little light and faint to see here. Hopefully you can see the laser pointer. It extends out to that full 14-foot width as we head down El Grasso. So what the project is intending to do is taking that full width, and we're going to carry it across the bridge or carry it through the intersection and then up to the bridge and across with the tapering down to meet existing sidewalks in West Haven. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. And our next question is coming in from Melly Garthwaite asking, will there be a recording of this video for residents to view? And I believe this question was probably asked right before I did actually post it. So yes, there will be. It will be on YouTube, and I put the link in the chat window, so you have the link there. All right, and let's see. Next question or comment is from Nancy saying, slides would be great. they are random access rather than requiring us to stream the YouTube recording to find the slides we want to refer to. And Derek, I think you're going to respond to that from DOT?
Yeah, Nancy,
Thank
I think this was based on your original question to get a copy of the slides, and not an issue. We can post that to our project website, probably by the end of the week, or if not early next week, and you can see the copy of the slides there. So not an issue. They'll be in PDF form, and you can reference that. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Derek. Thank you. And then we have another question coming in from Greg Milano saying, should I repeat my question submitted when I registered? Guessing that may have gone to our email. So Greg, it would be a great help if you wouldn't mind just entering that question, and then we'll make sure that we answer it here tonight. If you don't, we will respond if it came in through email. And Derek, I'm sorry, I just see, so did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I think Greg did submit his other question, so I see a couple down there, Greg. So
Yep,
we're going to get
it.
to them, Greg. I see you submitted 2 so far, so we'll for 3, maybe 4 or 5. I'm seeing them, so we'll get to them. So no need to resubmit those.
All right, Stephen Wilcox says, I'm glad you are including the shared use path in the design, says it looks nice. And Brianna, I think you're gonna.
Yeah, I was just gonna say thank you for the positive feedback. We appreciate it.
Certainly, thank you so much. Brian Evanich is asking, will this project start after the 2 I-95 bridge replacements are completed? And Brianna, it looks like you'll respond to that as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say that we are, if you're referring to the project that I'm thinking you're referring to, we are actively coordinating with that project team to minimize overlap in construction.
All right. The next question is coming in from Anna Mariotti asking, what will be done to mitigate impacts to the area residents? These would range from extreme traffic backups, pollution, to house damage from piling. I guess I will take the beginning part of that question, and then I am going to ask someone from H&H to speak to the piling construction. But I will say that DOT and the design team, our project team, did look at different options, and basically the best way to mitigate the overall impacts to the residents and the business owners is really what you see on the screen. We did look at incorporating potential ABC construction elements. However, that really didn't reduce the overall construction timeline, and it would have prevented anyone from using the bridge during construction. So with this, at least it does allow for 1 lane to be used in either direction. And then again, accommodates the cyclists and pedestrians throughout the construction. And then I guess I will hand it over to Ben.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to potential impacts from the construction activities, such as any pile driving, things of that nature, can't speak directly to what the final solution, choices for the foundation type once we have completed our boring subsurface exploration. But we'll say that with every plan that we put together, there are always limitations on vibrations, structured monitoring, and all of those considerations will be put into place when we're looking at the specific site characteristics, the soil types, and the surrounding area. So thank you for the comment. We'll certainly always be paying close attention to that. And Lisa, if there's anything to add in relation to mitigation to traffic impacts, I think you kind of hit on it previously, but.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Let's see, I'll mark that as done. Our next question that we have up is from Greg Milano saying, what opportunities might there be to expand the scope of the narrative and current project design to address the new bridge aesthetics, including shape, materials, lighting, and color in the light of the importance of this gateway to the future area? And I'm going to pass that over to Derek Lessard with Connecticut DOT.
Yeah, Greg, thanks for your comment here and your question. So yeah, we definitely can appreciate the importance of this structure, and it is a gateway to the area, to the West River in general. So our commissioner actually reached out to us and asked us to implement some aesthetic lighting at this bridge. And bridge aesthetics have been a hot topic recently internally at the department. We're looking for areas and ways to incorporate that. So we're going to definitely take this comment seriously and work internally to see what we can come up with. And we'll probably work through the cities to make sure that they're on board with the direction. And hopefully we can make this bridge look good, especially for everybody driving in the area and also boaters that are coming in the area too. So stay tuned for that, but definitely appreciate your comment here, and we will be looking into this.
Thank you, Derek. I'm going to go to, I think, Derek, you're going to answer our next question is from Carlos Reyes, as saying motor vehicles should not be responsible for bikers riding on the road when there are sidewalks.
So yes, there's a shared use path to kind of help the bikers protect, but the bikers still have the ability to ride on the roadway. And there's actually a state statute out there that requires all motorists, connected motorists, to give at least 3 feet of separation when overtaking or passing cyclists. So have to respectfully disagree. We do have state statutes out there that do protect the bikers, even if there's a sidewalk or a shared use path. Thanks.
Thank you, Derek. And our next question is from Greg Milano, asking specifically, can you expand on the plans for the lighting, crosswalk, and signals? And I'm going to hand that over to Ben Hawthorne with H&H.
Yeah, so as far as the lighting, the first thing we'll have just our overall lighting requirements, but from as Derek was mentioning, the considerations of any aesthetic features and lighting is being taken into account, and so we'll follow the direction there with how the final design will end up looking. As far as the crosswalks, it'll be new crosswalks on the intersection with the Kimberly Ave extension, but currently I believe you just cross with the traffic light on that side, and there's no marked crosswalks, so those will be new crosswalks in that location. The El Tigrasso Boulevard intersection with Kimberly Avenue currently does have crosswalks across each of those legs of the intersection. But with any of the improvements and modifications with the shared use path, we will just be upgrading any of the pedestrian signal facilities and things of that nature. And then signals and any of the signal improvements with that goes with those crosswalks will be performed, and the intent is new traffic signals at the Kimberly Avenue extension as well. And as Lisa mentioned, we will be looking at signal timing through all phases of the construction.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ben. All right, and let's move on to our next question. And Ben, I think you're going to take this one as well. And this is from Anstrus Farwell, asking any information on the design of the protective fence. It needs to be attractive to pedestrians, and yes, having a place to stop to enjoy the view. Some good comments there.
Yep. So just similarly, we agree, and we're gonna take into account what this fencing is going to look like, and as we look at the overall layout of the structure and making sure that the structure can accommodate any modifications to the out width to incorporate things of that nature. So we'll take that comment into consideration and work with Connecticut DOT.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the aesthetics of this bridge are pretty important to everyone, not only to the two cities, but certainly to DOT as well. So be working on all of those aspects. Let's see. Going to go to Anna Mariotti asking, will residents have any input for the design? And Derek, I think you're going to take that one.
Yeah, so obviously we're here, right, as a public info meeting, trying to gather comments from the public. So we do have the comment period open until July 11th. And I'm sure, I don't know if we can get to that slide again with the contact information. It was posted in the chat also, so you can reference the ways that you can comment. Additionally, as design progresses, I do ask that you work through the cities once you're outside of this comment period. They can address any comments and work through us so we can incorporate them. But again, the comment period will be open till July 11th, and we encourage comments. We want to know what the public and those that live in the area would like to see, and any issues that you have out there currently that we could potentially resolve. So definitely welcome any comments during that period. And then anything after, we just ask that you work through your city contacts, and we'll go from there. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Derek. Question in from Princess Topkins asking what is the impact of this project will have on traffic, and Lisa Slonis from VN Engineers is going to respond to that.
Thank you, Jennifer. So when we're talking about traffic on this project, we're really talking about two different kinds of traffic. We have the temporary condition during construction, and then we have the final condition when we're done with construction out there. So as we talked about in this presentation, construction is going to be done in two major stages where we're maintaining 2 lanes of traffic, one in each direction over the bridge, and obviously maintaining the signalized intersections on either side. There will be temporary signal adjustments to each of those to accommodate the lane shifts and the temporary conditions during construction. So timings will be updated and signal heads and things will be moved around to accommodate the temporary condition and the construction staging. And then as we've mentioned throughout this presentation, there's going to be a modification to the LOT Grasso Boulevard traffic signal and also a replacement of the traffic signal at the Kimberly Ave Extension intersection. So during both of those designs, we typically optimize the traffic signal timing so that when you have a finished product out here, it's going to be better than the existing condition. Thank you.
Very, very good. Thank you, Lisa. All right. And let's see, go to our next question, which is from Nancy Dunn, saying one existing problem, even in using the sidewalk is that a lot of road debris end up on the sidewalk, being hazardous, especially for cyclists. And Derek Lassard with Connecticut DOT is going to respond.
Yep. All right, Nancy, that's noted. Yeah, it can be difficult, obviously, when we have those tight areas and debris kind of flies up on the sidewalk. I would hope that the extra width of the shared use path would prevent that road debris spreading out too far into that shared use path, but definitely noted. We can let our maintenance teams, know that, and for future cleanups and try and keep an eye out for that. So thank you for your comment, and not much we can do other than try and be out there more frequently to maintain. So yeah, but it's appreciated that you let us know. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Derek. And let's see. Oh no, we answered that question, I believe. So we have a question from Carlos Reyes saying, is there a time frame for when construction will start? And there certainly is. Brianna, you will take that one.
Yeah, so as of right now, we're anticipating a construction start in 2027, but as I mentioned, we're in coordination with adjacent projects to ensure we minimize disruption.
Thank you so much. And we are going to move to Greg Milano. And he's just saying, I would ask that you greatly consider the design of the Beehive Bridge in New Britain. The bridge is a model for the incorporation of art, lighting, and history of the community. And Derek, you have a response for that?
Yep, sorry, my mute was stuck there. So yep, Greg, we'll definitely consider that. We're familiar with the Beehive Bridge. Yeah, so we'll be looking into different aesthetics, and again, we'll probably work very closely with the cities on this. So make sure that they're an approval with that. I'm not sure we'd go as far as what we did with the Beehive Bridge, but the city of New Britain definitely chipped in for that financially. So there's some consideration there, but yeah, we're going to be looking at aesthetics, and we'll consider that. And again, it's a big push internally. We have a new committee that we're starting to try and incorporate and improve aesthetics to our structure. So definitely looking to do that here, especially with the lighting. So again, thank you for your comment.
All right, thank you very much. And let's see. Moving on, I've got some more coming in, and I'll just say, if you can, just be patient with us. Just know that there are a couple different ways you can get a hold of us. The first is by email. The second is using the Q&A chat, which seems to be everyone's preferred method, which is fantastic. And then you can also leave us a voicemail. So with that, I'm going to move on to the next comment here, and this is coming from Ann Struss Farwell. It's just saying an attractive design for the fence could also help support traffic calming. And Derek, I will put that to you.
Yep. Yeah, so thanks for the comment. Again, I think Ben mentioned we're going to be looking at different fencing designs, and we want to definitely make sure we can still kind of see the view of the river here, but we'll definitely be looking into different options. Yeah, I'm not sure what type of research has been done in regards to the design of the fence helping with traffic calming, but we can definitely look into that. So thank you.
All right. Let's see, just looking here, a couple more questions. Nancy Dunn just saying, please consider slope as you plan the new bridge and the radius of the curve for the join with the existing path along. Currently, a cyclist has to be pretty fit or adept with gear changing to easily manage the ride up the bridge. I'm guessing Nancy's probably is one of those adept cyclists. And heading towards West Haven. Note that I often see pedestrians using the sidewalk, including families with shopping bags and strollers with children, families appearing to walking back after a day at the beach. This is really good information. We appreciate it. She also says, please think carefully about the slope, keeping in mind small children crossing the bridge, parents, strollers, and less than optimally fit cyclists. And Ben, I think you're going to respond to that one.
Yes, and I thought it kind of tied into, there's another question then about vertical clearance on the channel, so we can jump to that as well. Understood, we recognize how steep the overall vertical curve here is, the profile of the roadway going through, and there's a lot of reasons for that. And the design team and Connecticut Department of Transportation looks at all of those things closely to find the best way to optimize the solution here. This is a river crossing over a navigation channel. We're coming from a low level area, and it needs to get up rather quickly to get up over that over the channel. Coming into the question related to the curvature going into the El Tigreso Boulevard. As we come into the corner there, our sidewalks and it's going to have to tie in with any ramps for the crosswalks. So there'll be considerations there for the functionality of those ramps. But certainly, we've been out there, walked the site, understand the steepness of the bridge, and think we wanted to work for as many people as possible. So we'll be looking at that overall layout of the highway profile.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good points there, Ben. Got a lot more questions coming in, so I'm going to move on to those. Greg Milano has noted that West Haven's bike and ped plan from 2023 has different traffic count numbers than 2021. See table. Actually, we don't have somebody answer that question right now, but Greg, thank you for that information. We'll have to take a look at that and just and get back with that. So I think just looking at the project team, yeah, let us take a look into that and see what's going on there, and then we'll obviously take that into account moving forward. But thank you for that information. Let's see. Matt Baum is saying, would it be possible to incorporate more physical protection for the pedestrian and bike paths, such as a concrete barrier? And Brianna from DOT, I think you're going to take that.
Yeah, thank you for that comment, Matt. We actually did get similar comments from the Safe Streets Commission, so I'm not sure if you're a part of that organization, but we will look into that further as design progresses.
All right, be one of the considerations the project team's looking at. Thank you. Let's see. Carlos Reyes is asking, is the bridge going to be higher than what it is now to allow bigger boats to go through? Great question, and I'm going to hand that off to Ben Hawthorne with H&H.
Yeah, so the answer to this one's kind of building on what I was just mentioning before. With how steep the profile is to get over here. The intention is to not increase the vertical clearance of the navigation channel, and really efforts with the structural design will be focused on being able to span that channel while not significantly increasing roadway profiles through this area. So as far as the navigation channel is concerned, we'd be looking at maintaining width and vertical clearance.
Thank you for that response, Ben. And still have a couple more coming in right now, so let's see. Take a look. I want to give the project team just a few minutes to take a look at the questions so that they can decide who's going to be responding. And I'll just take a moment just to, again, kind of put a plug in for our post-meeting survey. First of all, I really do appreciate, everyone here does appreciate you taking time out of your evening tonight to hear about our project and provide all this information. This is really exactly what we're looking for, this type of public involvement, which we don't always get. So this is fantastic. And if you could just take a few more minutes of your time to fill out that survey, we would greatly appreciate it. And we will be getting to everyone's questions. So let me see what we have. Okay, Carlos Rios says, have you thought about the traffic where there is an accident on the highway and traffic deviated into Kimberly Ave into the Kimberly Bridge? And Lisa Slonis from VN Engineers is going to respond to that.
Hi, thank you, Carlos. And when you say highway, I'm assuming you mean the Interstate 95. So if there were a crash on 95, it would be considered an emergency or really a special condition. And unfortunately, we don't build based on that condition. If we did, all of our roads would be overbuilt and may look like 95. So if there was a crash, it would be a temporary inconvenience on the local roads if some drivers from 95 were chosen or directed to exit the highway.
Great, thank you so much, Lisa. We'll mark that as done. We have a question that came in from Angus Lamont asking, will there be any planned improvement or integration of the multi-use section to the multi-use path on the West Haven side of Elm Street? The description that a 14-foot multi-use pathway tapering into a standard sidewalk, how will the bicycle traffic be transitioned off the sidewalk and back into the regular roadway? Example, westbound riders need to be transitioned over to the right-hand side of the road onto Elm Street. And Tom Beckman with BL Companies will take that question, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. And this is a great question. So similarly to, as I mentioned previously, the project is transitioning down. So similarly to when the department came through with the Ella Grasso Boulevard, how we had transitioned into Kimberly Ave, taking it back to that 5-foot sidewalk. Looking at the purpose and need of the project, which is being the bridge itself, is the reason why we are kind of tapering it down to match those existing conditions on the West Haven side. After this project, we are going to have the benefit again of the improvements at the Kimberly Ave and Kimberly Ave intersection here. Going to add those sidewalks in there with the pedestrian crosswalks with the pedestrian accommodations through there. So that'll make it a lot better for those bicycle users to get back on the proper side of the road or riding with traffic.
Thank you, Tom. All right. Hopefully that will answer the question there. And let's see. Greg Milano has actually chimed in saying, thank you, Derek and Brianna. As a planning and zoning commissioner, we plan to submit our thoughts as a commission, and thank you for your consideration of our input. We would even welcome you to join us at a meeting to discuss the project. And Derek did see that, so I will give him a moment.
Yeah, great. Appreciate it. And definitely let us know when those meetings are. I'd be happy to attend them and speak more to this project. And again, we are early in our design, so as we progress, we'll get more information and we'll build off of what we have here. So thank you.
All right. Let's see, a couple more questions still coming in, so we will keep on going through these. Aaron Good asking, what is the current posted speed limit and can it be reduced as part of the project to promote traffic safety? Benjamin Hawthorne with H&H is going to take that.
Yeah, the posted speed limit is 25 miles an hour through this region. Lisa, anything to add to that? I don't believe we'd be reducing posted speeds. I think some of the issues and concerns with speed in this area is exceeding posted limits. I think there's some follow-up questions here that we can get into that.
All right. Thank you, Ben. And let's see, we have a question. Oh, no, I think that one was answered. Let me move on to another one here. Anna Mariotti is asking, who are you working with at the cities of New Haven and West Haven? And Brianna, I think you're going to answer that one.
Yeah, so we were coordinating with Giovanni Zinn and Abdul Qadir, who were both the city engineers for their respective cities. And we also had direct coordination with the mayor's office, I believe, from both cities as well.
Absolutely. And we'll continue our coordination with both cities as we progress in the design and then, of course, certainly in the construction as well. Okay, Nancy Dunn, it might be worth mentioning for the sake of public education that not only are cyclists guaranteed access to all but limited access highways by law, but the legality of riding our bikes on sidewalks is a matter of local control. It's tricky to know which of the more than 150 towns in Connecticut allow cyclists to ride on sidewalks. That is very true. Personally, I find the speed of the auto and truck traffic on the Kimberly Avenue Bridge to exceed my comfort level for sharing the road with drivers. Sorry, down there. Sharing the road drivers and their heavy vehicles, and the shoulder is often filled with items hazardous to cyclists. So I almost always cross the bridge on the sidewalk, but I keep an eye out for pedestrians or other cyclists. I dismount well in advance of pedestrians so no one wonders what to do. Similarly, I get out of the way of cyclists riding uphill, and I invite the designers and planners to ride with me. And Derek, I'm going to hand that over to you.
You know, I might say yes to that ride. I would like to go ride down there, but yeah, no, that's noted, and I think that's why the proposed cross section of the shared use path will eliminate those concerns and give an opportunity or an area for these cyclists to ride legally without any question. So. Comment is noted, and maybe I'll see you on that shared use path in the future.
Great. Thank you so much, Derek. And we do have a couple more questions coming in. And again, just in case we've had some people joining us a little bit late, there are several ways that you can get a hold of us. And perhaps we could just move back to our splash slide just so that we can have that up for everyone to see. Including the email addresses and telephone number, as well as the Zoom Q&A chat. And just as a reminder, the Zoom Q&A chat will only be open this evening, but you will have an opportunity to use the voicemail or the email for the next couple weeks. And hopefully we can just get that slide up there for you in just a moment. And I'll move on to our next set of questions that I'm seeing come in. Nancy, I'm just going to stick to this one. It says, great question about the integration of multi-use on one side of the bridge and shrinking to the currently inadequate sidewalks. It's an extremely hairy intersection at the gas station presently. And I think that comment, I'll just say, you know, certainly a great anecdote to kind of add to this, and we appreciate it. And we will, of course, take that into consideration as we move forward in the design. All right, and I'll look that. And our next one is Anstress Farwell, and just asking, will Connecticut DOT be plowing the sidewalks and bike lanes in the winter? Great question. And Derek Lessard with Connecticut DOT will respond.
Yeah, thanks for the question. So, yep, DOT will continue to plow and take care of the sidewalks and bike lanes. So the shared use path, right, is I believe what you're talking about in the future. Yep. So we take care of that now, and we will continue to take care of that in the future.
Thank you, Derek. All right, does look like we're getting a couple questions in through email, so I am going to go to one of those next. And this is a question from Owen Beisel that said, I am not able to attend the Zoom meeting tonight, but I'm very excited about the possibility for foot and bike traffic to use on the planned new bridge. Every year, it's easier to get around New Haven by bike thanks to traffic calming improvements like these, and I'd love to be able to get to more places in West Haven as well. Oh, well, that is fantastic feedback for the project team to get, so thank you very much. And it sounds like both the cities of West Haven and New Haven are working to make more areas accessible within within their individual cities, so that's great news as well. Let's see. And Brianna, did you want to add anything to that?
No, you covered everything I was going to say. Thanks.
Oh, okay, very well. Another question that came in through email. This is from Abigail Roth. Thank you for holding tonight's meeting. I'm writing to express my support for the comments that were submitted by the New Haven Coalition for Active Transportation, otherwise known as NCAT. To summarize their comments, a design that has a shared use path on both sides of the street with 3-foot shoulders and 12 inches of tighter lanes to bring both sidewalks up to 12 feet. Shared use paths with 3-foot shoulders. And Derek, you're gonna take that one?
Yep, Abigail, so that's noted. Yep, we received the coalition's comments here on the cross section. So we're going to take that into consideration. You know, we'll work with our management team here and also the cities to see what we can do about that. We'll leave that kind of open-ended now, and you'll definitely get a response from us as far as once we work through that. So thank you.
Thank you. And Derek, I think if I can just hold you on, I'll move over to the next question, which I think can be a response from you as well. This is from Matt Baum saying, could the crosswalks at either end be raised to improve safety by slowing speeders? Raised crosswalks appear to be working well in other locations in New Haven.
Yeah, hi, Matt. So I'm a bridge engineer, so I will, we're going to have to table this comment here. We'll have to talk internally in our traffic division and see what we can do. I can't say yes or no to that right now, but we're definitely going to look into that and see what has been done in New Haven too, and see if that's something we can incorporate. But no guarantees, but we'll definitely look into that. Thanks.
Great point. All right. Let's see, a couple more questions coming in. This is Nancy says, no one drives across the bridge at 25 miles per hour in my experience, unless congestion slows everyone down. I'd guess the ambient speed is often closer to 40 miles per hour. And Derek, you want to respond to that?
Yep. So Nancy, as noted, our design speed that we are basing all our requirements and specifications on is actually 40 miles an hour. So we are meeting requirements for that type of speed. We did, and that is the 85th percentile. So we are well aware that 85% of the people out there are going 40 miles an hour over that bridge. So we are designing accordingly, and that's why you're seeing our cross section and widths, depicted the way they do. So thank you.
All right. And great. It looks like we're going to bring up again just that emails and oh, whoops, I think we just lost our share. Give it a second to bring back. In the meantime, I'll go to our next question as we wait for that to pop back up. Let's see, we got a couple more questions coming in. And let me go through those. Let's see, we have, I'm going to go actually back to this one. This is an email question from Mark Abraham. Saying, I live in the area and frequently use this bridge. I think the proposal does not do enough to calm traffic. Drivers will be speeding over the bridge at 60 miles per hour, causing significant harm. Please consider narrowing the travel lanes to reduce vehicle speeds. Also, I think that the shared use paths for bicycles and pedestrians should be wider and added on both sides of the bridge. This is a key connection on the shoreline trail that a lot of people walk or bike on. As the area develops, there will be more demand for biking and walking on the side of the bridge where you currently are proposing one sidewalk. At the very least, please add several feet of width to the shared use path on the harbor side. So I will just answer in the beginning of this question, and then others can chime in as needed. Certainly understand the concern about the speeds. I think several folks have spoken to those this evening. And, one of the things that is being done in the proposed design currently is a reduction in the overall width of the lanes. So that should help do some of the calming that you're looking for. And then additionally, the walks and the, cyclist and pedestrian accommodations are being increased compared to what there is today. So understanding that, it may not be as large as you're looking for, but I think the project team will be taking everything into consideration that's been said tonight and looking to really finalize the design and hopefully, work to make everyone as happy as possible. I'll give anyone else an opportunity to chime in on that one. Think we are good with that. All right. Okay. Question Angus Lamont has, is there any coordination of the design of the bridge? Any coordination of the design of the bridge with recognition that the East Coast Greenway runs along 2nd Avenue to Elm Street across the bridge and then along El Grasso to C Street? This bridge will be a 50-year at least set piece of infrastructure. Would love to maximize the utility of the bridge for all those future years. Thank you. And Brianna with Connecticut DOT.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, which I had mentioned earlier, like part of the reason we chose the east side of the bridge to do the shared use path was because it connects into the East Coast Greenway. So that was intentional with our design. Hopefully
Yeah.
that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big part of it. And that was something that both the cities of West Haven and New Haven had commented on, I believe, Brianna, when we were first meeting with them. So it was great input to hear. Nancy Dunn has noted, given the bridge spans 2 jurisdictions and there's anecdotal evidence of a norm of drivers speeding across this bridge, are there any discussions about traffic calming or automated speed limit enforcement? Given the 2 towns involved, does that complicate the question of automated enforcement of the speed limit? Great question. And Derek with Connecticut DOT, you will take that.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy. So the DOT is not responsible for monitoring or controlling speeds of drivers. So the local police or whoever has jurisdiction over that area would be responsible for that. As far as traffic calming, I know we've had a few comments, as Jennifer mentioned, about the speeds in the area, and we're definitely going to look at different things, what we can do to calm the area. But as far as enforcement of speed limits, that's not the department's jurisdiction. So the local, whoever has local jurisdiction would have control over that.
Thank you, Derek. Carlos Rios is asking, will there be cameras installed overseeing this area? Just curious. I think maybe Derek kind of expand on the first answer you just gave or the last answer you were giving.
Yep. So no cameras are planned, I guess, is a simple answer to oversee the area. So I'm not sure, Carlos, if you mean permanently or during construction. But either way, right now we don't have any plans to put any up.
Right. Nancy Dunn has said, I respectfully ask that the planners dismiss the 85th percentile guidelines for this essential link between the 2 communities in the same county, noting that the guidelines normalize unsafe and anti-community driving speeds. I'm sure the planners are aware that many ordinary people and safe streets advocates question the custom use of the 85th percentile guideline. That is absolutely true. We do understand that. That's actually one of the major reasons for Connecticut DOT's kind of, I'll say, I'm not gonna say a new initiative, but reinstated initiative of the complete streets, which is really being applied here. So we're really looking at things from a more wholesome or more whole perspective. So we're looking at pedestrian use, cyclist use, along with vehicle use, not just vehicle use anymore. So that's one of the reasons why you're seeing the cross section, you know, that was presented tonight, is to incorporate that and not allow for the 85th percentile to sort of rule the overall design, because we have seen that that doesn't always work so well in the past. So there's a lot of improvements and pretty bold initiative that Connecticut DOT has undertaken recently to look again at it as a whole. And we have just a clarification, I believe they're asking for from Matt Baum, saying, sorry if I am misunderstanding. Did Derek say that the bridge is being designed for 40 miles per hour speed, even though the posted speed limit is 25? Great question. And Lisa Slonis with VN Engineers is going to take that.
Yeah, thank you. And yes, Matt, you did hear that correct. So, you know, as a highway roadway designer, it is standard practice to base the geometry of the roadway on the 85th percentile speed. Now, the speed of the roadway doesn't play into so much the cross section of the road with the number of lanes and sidewalk and lane widths and things like that. Those are all done contextually sensitive, particularly in this case. But what we're most concerned about with the design speed and where that comes into play is when we're talking about the horizontal geometry of a roadway and the vertical geometry of the roadway, because we want to make sure that the majority of the vehicles that are using the roadway have the appropriate stopping sight distances, so that it's a safe roadway, even though some may drive, or more than some may drive, over the posted speed limit.
Thank you for that response, Lisa. And let's see, just want to give everyone a couple more minutes, see if we have any additional questions. We've had some great questions, great comments tonight. Again, really appreciate everyone taking time out of their evening to join us and hear more about the project. I just want to make sure that we do give everyone an opportunity. And once again, there will be a comment period that'll be open for the next 2 weeks. So you can always contact the project team by sending an email to the email address that you see up there. I also placed it in the Zoom chat. And you can also leave a voicemail by dialing 860-594-2020. Would be a great big help if you can just leave your contact information so that we can get back in touch with you, and also just reference project 156-184. That will ensure that it gets to the right project team. And let's see, I don't think I see any more questions coming in here. Oh, no, we got one more that just popped up. Again, this is Matt Baum saying, I think there may be some confusion around what speed the bridge is being designed for. Is this road considered a highway? Is that why designers are using highway guidelines? Oh, yep. And Lisa's gonna, I think, provide that clarification. Great question.
Yes. So this roadway is classified as a minor urban arterial. As a roadway designer, highway designer, we kind of interchangeably use that word highway when we're talking about a roadway, and maybe that can be a bit confusing, but we are using the appropriate design standards for the classification of roadway.
Yeah, and this is Derek. If I can add to that, we have a highway design manual at the department that covers all types of roadways, to Lisa's point. So the term highway is commonly used internally. So that's just kind of, I think, the where that's all coming from. So thank you.
All right, and just another question that came in from Nancy Dunn saying, so far no one has asked about how much the large parcel redevelopment on the West Haven side will be taken into account in the design of the replacement bridge. What are your thoughts? Nancy, I think that's a fantastic question. And I know that we received a couple comments from some folks that were questioning the need to have 2 lanes in either direction over the bridge. And just that's a really great point just for that. We really are on the cusp of needing those 2 lanes in either direction with the current traffic counts. But as you're kind of noting, there probably will be an increase not only in pedestrian and cyclist traffic, but along with vehicular traffic. So that is being, you know, considered and accounted for as this design progresses as it stands right now. Carlos Reyes is asking, how about adding speed bumps? And I think that was kind of similar to talking about the raised crosswalks. And so that's something I don't think that the project team has considered as of yet, but it's certainly up there. I mean, again, that's the point of having this meeting tonight, is to get these ideas out there so that they can be considered moving forward and incorporated as appropriate. So I think we'll take a look at that and see what can happen there. And again, just give everyone a couple more minutes. Matt Baum says, thank you for answering the highway question. I think regular road users might misunderstand and bristle upon hearing that term. I think that's a really great point, Matt. And I will say, as engineers, we tend to forget that. We have kind of our own lingo, and sometimes forget that, you know, highway does not mean roadway for everyone. So really appreciate you kind of pointing that out and allowing Lisa to clarify that. So something to keep in mind with future public info meetings is to better define our term there. Just see if we have. All right, I think we are good. It looks like no other questions are coming in. So anyways, thank you all for joining us this evening. We really do appreciate your time as well as your comments. Hopefully we have been able to answer your questions during the session. However, as I mentioned before, should you have any additional comments or questions, our comment period will be open for another 2 weeks, and you can use that project email or voicemail. And again, if you do just have a few more minutes of your time you're willing to give, if you could take our voluntary survey after this meeting, again, that web address was put into the chat, so you can access it there. And with that, I think we're going to close out tonight's presentation. So thank you again for joining us, and please take care.